There is a death that leaves no graves, no mourners, no funerals. It happens quietly, often after the age of 35, not when the body collapses, but when the soul begins to erode. A man wakes up. Everything around him looks fine. A steady job, a family, a home. But somewhere between his morning coffee and the evening commute, something slips. The spark, the fire, the deep pulse that once made him move without questioning, grows silent. And the tragedy is, no one notices. The world applauds his stability, his responsibility, his ability to stay consistent. But inside, something sacred rots away. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." The crisis that devours men after 35 isn't violent. It is invisible. It wears the mask of normalcy. It hides behind promotions, paychecks, and polite conversations. No screaming, no alarms, just a quiet surrender. Day after day until the soul folds in on itself like a dying star. Stoicism doesn't just prepare a man to die with dignity. It teaches him to recognize when he has stopped living and demands that he return. It doesn't happen all at once. No sudden collapse, no breaking news, only a slow erosion, like the sea wearing away the rocks, grain by grain, breath by breath. A man trades a dream for a deadline, a passion for a paycheck, a wild hunger for a manageable life. And every time he says, "This is just reality," a part of him vanishes. The invisible enemy is not failure, it is numbness, the slow deadening of the spirit under the weight of small, reasonable compromises. Once, he would wake up with a fire in his chest. Now he wakes up with a list, appointments, tasks, meetings, bills. Life becomes a set of checkboxes to tick, not a flame to guard. And the tragedy is this: the world will call him successful, but inside he knows something sacred is slipping away. Epictetus warned, "First tell yourself what you want to be, and then do what you have to do." Yet most men, somewhere along the road, forget the first part. They do and do and do, but the doing becomes hollow. Because when a man forgets who he is, no achievement can ever make him whole again. The world sells a lie. It whispers early that success will fill the hollow spaces inside. Work harder, earn more, be admired, and when that happens, the ache will stop. The restlessness will vanish. The man will be made whole. But here's the silent betrayal. Success only makes the hollow places echo louder. History leaves warnings if anyone cares to listen. Marcus Aurelius ruled the greatest empire on earth. Gold, power, armies. Yet in the cold silence of his journals, he confessed, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." A man who commanded millions still feared wasting the brief flicker of his life. In the modern world, the story repeats. Ethan, a 44-year-old tech entrepreneur, had everything the world worships. A lakefront home, 6 figures per month, a fleet of luxury cars. On paper, he was unstoppable. But at 2 a.m., sitting alone in a kitchen too large for one man, he stared into his glass of whiskey and realized he hadn't felt alive in years. He had won the race, only to find the trophy empty. Stoicism teaches, it is not what a man owns that matters, but what owns him. Success without soul is not triumph. It is exquisite self-betrayal. The world will call it victory. But deep inside, a man knows when he has traded his soul for applause, and no amount of admiration can fill the grave he digs inside himself. Ethan's story isn't rare. It's a mirror held up to millions. The hollow ache inside successful men doesn't come from failure. It comes from poisons hidden in plain sight. The first is comfort addiction. Comfort whispers, "You've earned it." Stay where it's soft. Stay where nothing tests you. But comfort, left unchecked, becomes a coffin lined with velvet. No man was made to die peacefully in a chair, while his dreams rot beside him. The second is approval addiction. At first, a man seeks approval to build alliances, to survive. But slowly, he begins to live for applause. He shapes his words to avoid offense. He edits his life to fit a narrative that isn't even his, until one day he realizes he has become a well-liked stranger to himself. The third is distraction addiction. A man who cannot sit with his own thoughts will eventually become a slave to noise. He scrolls, he clicks, he chases one flicker of dopamine after another, mistaking movement for meaning. Epictetus warned, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid, because real growth demands silence, discomfort, time away from the noise. The poisons don't kill all at once. They do it slowly, a death by small, silent surrenders. And by the time a man notices, often, the best parts of him are already gone. By now, if something inside you stirs, good, it should, because the greatest tragedy isn't failure. It's to drift so far from yourself that you no longer feel the loss. Modern life doesn't destroy men with violence, it erodes them with comfort. And the most dangerous prison is the one so cozy you forget you're locked inside. Stoicism does not offer comfort. It offers confrontation. A man must learn to see clearly. The poisons he drinks, the lies he buys, the soul he trades away in tiny silent deals. No excuses, no distractions, no polished speeches about being busy. Just one brutal question. What have you become? If the answer stings, good. Pain is proof that something sacred still lives. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Dig inside yourself. Inside there is a spring of goodness ready to gush at any moment if you keep digging." The crisis killing men after 35 isn't inevitable, but surviving it requires brutality. Brutality with lies, brutality with fear, brutality with comfort. A man must become a hammer, not clay. The hidden call of Stoicism isn't to endure life like a stone. It is to live awake, to live scarred but unbroken, to live without begging the world to approve. And above all, to live so honestly with himself that no applause, no promotion, no hollow success could ever make him forget who he is. A man does not lose himself all at once. He misplaces his fire one compromise at a time. He trades his roar for a whisper. He sharpens his edges until nothing can cut him, not even truth. One morning he wakes up surrounded by all the things he once thought would save him, and feels nothing. That is the real death. Not when a man falls, but when he stands perfectly still inside, while life keeps moving without him. Stoicism demands no heroism. It demands honesty, a brutality with oneself that no enemy could inflict. Rebirth isn't about becoming someone new. It's about recovering the man buried under 10,000 clever lies. It's about reclaiming the hunger, the stillness, the savage dignity that modern life tried to bleach out of him. And yes, it will hurt. Growth always demands blood, but comfort demands the slow bleeding of the soul. A man chooses his suffering. One burns away illusions. One burns away life. Marcus Aurelius warned, "Ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary? The world offers 1,000 distractions, 1,000 ways to drift quietly into nothing. But every man who still feels the faintest ember inside knows that to live even one day awake, one day without begging, without lying, one day moving by the pull of his own soul, is worth more than a lifetime of quiet compliance. Rebirth isn't a second chance, it's the only chance. One day they will ask who you were, not what you owned, not who approved of you, but whether you were truly alive and whether you had the courage to stay awake in a world desperate to make you sleep. Somewhere inside, there is a voice that never gave up on you. If you heard it today, honor it. Leave a mark, a like, a word in the comments, a promise to yourself. This journey isn't for the many, it's for the few who refuse to fall asleep.